Hello and welcome back to another episode of Screen Tested. I am your host Tyrant, where we take things from movies, TV shows, pop culture, try to create them in the real world and test them one-on-one from the media they come from. Now in today's episode we're going to be taking a look at Captain Hook's Hook. He's got a real original name, doesn't he? Anyway, we're going to be taking a look at Captain Hook's Hook, which actually one of you guys suggested a little while ago in the comments section. I thought it was a good idea. I don't really expect today's episode to be too long. It's probably just going to be short and sweet, a little bit of fun. So we're going to make our own hook and then we'll put it a little bit to the test and give our thoughts on it. Now, obviously, I have two hands and I'm not going to go, the whole way there to see how, effective it really would be if you didn't have a hand. But I will do my very best to find out if it is at least a good prosthetic. Well, at least as good as this segue to today's sponsor, Surfshark VPN. In today's day and age, when we spend so much time online, your privacy and online security is paramount. And in these dark waters, you never know what type of sharks are going to be swimming around. So why not get a shark that's got your back instead? To give you peace of mind with 3,200 servers in 100 different locations around the world, and unlimited device linking to a single account, 24-hour, 7 days a week support, Surfshark is your one-stop shop for all your VPN needs. So why would you need a VPN? Well, maybe you want to check prices in another country to make sure that you're not getting ripped off. Maybe you want to look at region-locked content. For example, have you ever come across a YouTube video where it says this is not available in your country? Well, just switch to another country. So all you will need to do is go to surfshark.com/screentested and you'll get 4 additional months for free. So with their 30-day money-back guarantee, if you're not satisfied, there's really no risk in trying it. There'll be links in the description and the pinned comment. They also have some other products that you might be interested in as well, and that being Surfshark Antivirus or Surfshark Alerts. But with that being said, thank you Surfshark for sponsoring today's episode. Remember to go to surfshark.com/screentested to get those 4 additional months for free. Now let's get back to the episode. Now today's episode is technically a mini episode. There's not really much to it. So as such, it doesn't really require a build segment. However, I got a brand new anvil and I made a new blacksmithing hammer. So I kind of just wanted to show them off. Maybe that's what we've got in store for the future. I got them for a reason. Let's just leave it at that. But I'm going to be cold working this iron. It's not very strong, so it's more than acceptable on the anvil, and it was just for a little bit of fun. After I've got my hook shape kind of how I want it, I'm going to chuck it on the grinder to give it a point. I'm not giving it an edge, just a point. Then I'm going to add a little bit of a hand guard protection with a little bit of epoxy. It should be more than enough for what we need out of this hook. Very, very quick build, more just because I wanted to show off some new toys I got. Let's get to the testing. Here we have our Captain Hook's hook. Captain Hook's hook? I don't know how we're supposed to... Whatever. I have Captain Hook's hook, and I actually like this. I think this is actually an interesting and somewhat... I think it would have functionality, right? I think it would be versatile. Now, this is a... somewhat close enough analogous to the what we see in things like the movies and Peter Pan and story stuff like that. I think this is close enough. Now, in terms of a hook, when it actually comes to a weapon, this is the thing, right? There's caveats here. In terms of having your hand bitten off by like an alligator, right, and replacing it with a hook, and you're a pirate, I can definitely see that. And the reason why is it's obvious. I mean, it should be obvious, and that is hooking onto things. On a ship, you have a whole bunch of scaffolding, you have a whole bunch of ropes, railings, guards, things like that, where if I didn't have a hand and I was a pirate, something like a hook might actually come in use. And then you have secondary functions, right, which is as somewhat of a weapon. You don't have your hand anymore. How would the hook work? Well, I mean, it works like a hook. They are pretty gnarly. Pretty gnarly. I want to show you guys that. Hooks can be no joke, and I want to make this clear. This isn't even like a particularly sharp hook. This isn't even a particularly aggressive hook. This is more like, Tony, my man, what you doing, bro? All right, that was fun, so I want to do another one because that did really well. Let's do another hook here. Let's do it. That's good. If you're enjoying today's episode you should really consider subscribing. And while you do that, we will wait and see how long it takes me to put this thing on. Have you subscribed yet? I mean, while you're there, you should also like the video. I hear that helps. That is visceral. Visceral. We have, because like it's basically the same as a sickle, right? But it's not as aggressive, right? In here, I want to make this clear, is not sharpened. So that actually can hold on to something, right? I can grab onto something and I can pull that around and it doesn't actually cut or damage it. Most of the sharpness or the deadliness of this is right on the point. That's what you do when you want to get into when you want to hook into things, right? It is useful and it is functional. You can grab onto things like nobody's business. Crazy. So, I mean, if a crocodile bit my hand off and I was a pirate, I'd probably go with this as well, honestly. In terms of hitting something a little bit more solid, something like Tony, let's see if I can get through the armor. Now, something to remember is obviously I have a hand, so this has a little handle here, but if it was like a full gauntlet attachment, right, it would be much more secure and much more solid. So that is a caveat to add into the design, right? I mean, that didn't feel too bad. It's not as solid as it could be, right? I mean, it grabs on pretty good. Nobody's going nowhere when I do that. Stop Tony from falling, just like that. So the last and final point that I wanted to bring up when it comes to the hook is how it actually would hook on to some rope. Because that's interesting, right? Because obviously on your ship, you have scaffolding, you have rope. Can you actually hook onto that sort of stuff? Well, when it comes to actually hooking onto this, that's not bad. That's still on there. Yeah, okay. Grabbing onto loose rope. Now that's probably going to be a little bit of a tricky challenge. However, if I wrap it around the hook, I have complete control, but at the same time, if I wanted to, I can probably let it go. Yeah. So if you have a hook, obviously you can hook on like this, but it might slip. But if I grab it like this, spin it around a couple of times, which is helped by the shape of it, all of a sudden, I can bring the rope wherever I want. And I can also let it go. In terms of practicality and functionality, I definitely think if I was Captain Hook, you get your hand taken off in a battle or whatever, having a hook like this to grab onto rigging maybe, to grab onto a rail, maybe even to use it as somewhat of a parrying sort of thing, I think it's pretty good. In terms of how I would actually use the design, right? I think not having a blade in here would be the best way to go, because you got to remember, you're not just trying to capture Peter Pan or whatever, but you're also trying to live a daily life where, you know, I need to grab that, or I need to, you know, grab this. And you don't want to be cutting everything, but having a nice sharp point on that hook to drive down on things, that is a fantastic design. So, I'm a big fan of this one. Nothing crazy or out of the ordinary, nothing wacky, just a fun one. It is, oh man. Captain Hook's hook. I mean, I think that went into an existing hole. Don't get your hopes up. That was not that strong of a strike, but I think that went into an existing hole. I felt that one kind of slip in there a little bit. I like it. I think it's pretty cool. Short episode today, guys. Thank you guys for watching. I genuinely hope you enjoyed. Remember to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below what you thought of today's episode, and if you have any future suggestions. Remember, you can become a channel member and support this type of content. I would really appreciate it. Helps this channel, you know, grow and get bigger to hopefully become sustainable at some point. But that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you next week in another episode. Have a good one. Our me hearties.